T-Wolves of London. So, Timberwolves have the best record in the Western Conference and shut the game off last night and went to bed when they had a 40-point first quarter lead. I'm glad they didn't blow it. No big deal. But something that's also a big deal, and hoping that the Vikings don't blow their chance to find the quarterback of the future in this year's draft. And whether Kirk is back or not, the Vikings have an absolutely great opportunity here with one of the deepest quarterback classes in NFL history to secure their guy. And the Vikings, Kwesi's gotten a lot of flack. But you see what he and Kevin O'Connell are doing. They're completely rejuvenating this roster. And frankly, I think that they're this close from being good to go. So let's dive on in. 9 reasons why the Vikings are a great spot for a rookie quarterback. Number 1, Justin friggin' Jefferson. Right, so that first, last, and everything. And don't let Mahomes fool you. Like, Mahomes is the ultimate outlier, and every single quarterback conversation should almost just eliminate him because he's that far above the rim. Good quarterbacks need good receivers, right? And good receivers will make a good quarterback great and make them even better. And yes, great quarterbacks make their wide receivers better, but certainly does not hurt having premium weapons on the outside. Like, imagine how good Mahomes would be with Jefferson, Addison, and Hockenson once he gets back versus the remnants of Kelsey as well as like MVS and Mecole Hardman. Cool. Great. But you have the best wide receiver of this generation, and if he signs off on you, you're going to be good to go. You're going to have him for the duration of your rookie contract and probably longer, and it's a massive asset. Number 2, Jordan Addison proved that he's one of the best young receivers in the game, had 10 touchdowns as a rookie with 4 different quarterbacks. That doesn't get talked about enough. And Hockenson will be back from that knee, knocking down all the wood. And also, Hockenson was operating with 4 different quarterbacks, and he was this close to a 100-catch, 1,000-yard season, which is massive for a tight end. He's top 3 in this league, and I don't know that he's 3. So right there, you have an absolute trident. You have the MF and tripod of weapons. Number 3, protection-wise, you got Darrisaw and O'Neal. Now, you got 2 bookend tackles. Christian Darrisaw has potential, if he can stay healthy, to be one of the best left tackles in the game. Brian O'Neal, it felt like he took a step back last year, but also I think a lot of that could be quarterback play as well. Whereas if he had Kirk Cousins all season long, I think that his play would have been up here. But given that quarterbacks have different processing speed, different dancing around the pocket, different pocket awareness, I think that was one of the reasons why he got dinged up. But you have an elite set of bookend tackles, and now if the Vikings can just get their ish together on the interior offensive line, I mean, you got it made in the shade. Next up, number 4, Kevin O'Connell, a.k.a. Tall McVay. Now, this was the plan. This was the dream, where the main drawback of having a defensive-minded head coach is that offensively, working with the quarterback, it's not really a natural fit, as a lot of defensive-minded head coaches came up through the defensive ranks and never really interacted with the team's quarterback, and now they just have to kind of work together. Whereas if you have an OC, probably was formerly a quarterback coach before becoming an offensive coordinator, and now you're an offensive-minded head coach. You've worked with quarterbacks your entire time, and that relationship is the most important player-coach relationship on the team. And also, if your team has success, if you're a defensive-minded head coach, your OC is probably getting poached for head coaching jobs over and over and over. So learning new coaches and learning new personalities, learning new schemes, it's not good. So having that continuity is extremely important. And with Kevin O'Connell, could he eventually pull in Andy Reid, where he's consistently up there amongst one of the best offensive minds in the game? I hope so. And Kevin O'Connell is young, like he's not even freaking 40 yet, and he is learning on the job. And we have criticized him when we felt like he fell short, giving away very winnable games down the stretch, even though, yes, the Vikings were ravaged by injuries, but hopefully those are all learning lessons. And they haven't had a chance to find their true guy yet, because they inherited Kellen Mond. They frankly inherited Kirk Cousins too, but they've made that work. And then they drafted Jaron Hall in the 5th round, but he's probably not seen as the future. But now Kevin O'Connell and Kwesi have this golden opportunity to go and get their dude. Whether it's May, well, it's probably not going to be Williams, but if it's May, Daniels, McCarthy, maybe even Nix, Penix, Rattler, Spencer Pratt, who knows? Who knows? But going and get your guy and owning it, man. Next up, number 5, ownership stability. Now, You could think that this is a small factor, but it's a pretty big one because you look at Daniel Snyder in Washington for all of those years. I do not think that Snyder was the only reason why RG3 failed in Washington or why Kirk Cousins was sort of whatever, but that does factor in. And also you look at Dallas with Dak and Jerry Jones and just overbearing ownership. Like I do love the Wilfs. I mean, I know that they get criticized for is like, oh, they just want a mediocre team that just sells tickets. I mean, to a degree, sure. But you're telling me that ownership doesn't want to win a Super Bowl? They grew up as Giants fans. They won Super Bowls with Parcells and Belichick. Of course, they want that glory, man. Plus, also, did you know that winning Super Bowls means more money? It's weird. But, yeah, the ownership stability is really important. And to a degree, like general manager, could you say that Kwesi is a little bit on the hot seat? Yes. But also, in a weird way, I feel like if Kwesi and Kevin O'Connell go all in on a quarterback, that actually buys them a little bit more time. Given that the quarterback will be on scholarship likely for a year or two. So I think that in a weird way, that would actually give them more job stability as well, which is also important because there's nothing worse than if you're a quarterback drafted by a GM head coach and then they get fired the next year and then your future is completely up in the air, like with Bryce Young in Carolina. Next up, number 6, rising Flores defense. So as Mahomes and the Chiefs showed you this year, a defense can be a quarterback's best friend. And Flores and that defense, they're churning over personnel. They're going to get upgrades on that side of the ball. And also, I mean, Brian Flores, ignoring the last couple of weeks because, I mean, the wheels just fell off. But he took what was the 31st ranked defense in the league, largely with the same personnel, and transformed them into a mid-teens type defense. And I think Flores might be here for the long haul too. Because you saw how he was basically frozen out of head coaching interviews and also getting love and votes for assistant coach of the year. It's just completely disrespectful. But I think that Kevin O'Connell and Flores work well together, and I think that they could be together for the next couple of years. And I think Flores could really build an elite defense on that side of the ball. Having a good defense, especially for a young quarterback, is going to be a really big part of their success. Number 7. Could sit early. And yeah, you look at C.J. Stroud, you look at other rookie quarterbacks that have hit the ground running, which is great. But some quarterbacks certainly could benefit from sitting and marinating a little bit and getting their feet wet and learning to be a pro's pro, acclimating to the professional game, especially if they're younger players. And the Vikings, it could be a spot where Kirk is back. I mean, Kirk could be back on a team-friendly deal, and this quarterback could sit for a year, maybe 2. Or it could be a spot where the Vikings do bring in a bridge quarterback, and maybe that QB starts the season. Again, if it's a lower-tier bridge quarterback like a Sam Darnold, or if they roll with Nick Mullins or something, I would prefer that the rookie starts. But I mean, say it's Gardner Minshew. Say it's someone of that ilk, right? I would be okay if they start out to see what happens with Minshew, and if the rookie's good to go, he's good to go. But there won't be all that pressure. Be like, hey, like Bryce Young in Carolina. It's like, hey, you're the number 1 overall pick. Hey, you need to be out there. Hey, you need to be earning your money. Hey, you need to do this and that. And you've seen through the years where quarterbacks, like David Carr, maybe looking like Bryce Young now, where they're thrown to the wolves, they're not ready, and they get shredded, and the confidence is not there. The confidence gets hurt, and you always wonder, like, what could have happened if they would have landed in a better situation where they didn't have that immediate pressure right away, and they could develop in their own time. And that's what's really great about the Vikings, is that they have all that. Number 8, hungry fan base. A borderline hangry fan base, because the Vikings for so long have been looking for that homegrown hero. We had it for a degree. Well, it would have been Teddy, except Teddy's leg fell off. We had it with Dante, had it with Tommy Kramer, Fran Tarkenton before he had his interregnum with the Giants. But having that homegrown superstar quarterback, our freaking guy, I mean, been looking at that for a while. Now, the Vikings have gone down the rabbit hole of the retread quarterbacks. Like, hey, mama, I can change him. All the free agents, all the Favres, all the Archie Mannings, all the Jim McMahons, all of the Gus Ferrats, all of the Matt Castles, like everything. Stops now. Find your guy who's going to be your talisman for the next 15 years. Next up, number 9, young team. So I don't know if you know, it's like the Vikings have been cycling through getting rid of some older veterans and some larger contracts. Now, yes, maybe you're too early, but whatever. But the Vikings, they are building a very young football team. I mean, Jefferson's still only 24, Addison's 21 or 22, Hawkinson's young too, Darrisaw's young, and I mean, like the elder statesman is O'Neal, who's like 28. So I think that they're going to completely cycle through. Like if Cousins leaves, if Daniil leaves, Daniil's going to be 30 in October. Harrison's 35 if he leaves. I mean, this is going to be a full-on youth movement on this team. The Vikings will be one of the youngest teams in the league. And it could be a spot where it's like Houston, where the Vikings get their quarterback of the future, a very young team that's going to grow and show together. And when the sun shines, we shine together. And I do think that, I mean, the Vikings are in a great spot for whichever quarterback lands here because of stability, because of infrastructure, because of talent around him, and because of lack of immediate pressure on him, pun intended. So I think that whoever it is, whoever the Vikings end up, whoever Kevin O'Connell and Kwesi Deem is the guy, I think that they are frankly going to land in the best possible spot to be a quarterback because, I mean, what's better? Washington? No. Chicago? No. New York? No. But we'll see what happens, man. But your thoughts are thoughts. 9 nueve reasons why the Vikings are a great spot for a rookie quarterback. Let us know your thoughts and our thoughts in the comment section below. Subscribe for daily Vikings takes. Want to support the work? Put a little something in the Venmo. But till next time, Skol, production value.